Greetings, my fellow freedom lovers and sovereign thinkers. This is LL3's newest podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful swampy mangroves of South Florida. And today's date, Saturday, July 4th, 2015. Yes, my friends, it is Independence Day in the United States of America, 239 years old. It's very interesting when a lot of folks out there, they forget what Independence Day is about. And don't get me wrong, I'm still very critical in the corruption, rough edges, okay, like all nations do and individuals like ourselves, including being an empire and condemning every beautiful individual here with tyranny, all forms. I'm not gonna be, just griping about that. Because usually what I do, I remember a few years ago, I had my United States flag, and below I have my anti-UN flag. And so when people try to give me the discussions, or they go, I hate America, this and that, I go, what do you don't like? So, and of course, they just still want to blow smoke. I say, okay, well, what are you going to do about it? And they can't do anything, and they can't say a word. So the whole thing is, criticism is good, but always try to have solutions on how can make things better for everybody. This is we should always try to cherish this moment especially on our inalienable rights, which Thomas Jefferson wrote. And there's even claims too that Thomas Paine assisted him with some of the wording, which is okay, which is fine by me. It doesn't bother me one bit, because the bottom line is this: we have to always believe our natural born rights are inalienable. No ands, ifs, or buts, and who cares what the dingleberries from the tyrannical system say? You're not numbers. One moment, I'm getting an interruption here. Let's just check this out. Actually, I'm not. Okay, good. So definitely, you should always read the Declaration of Independence every day and understand its foundation. Like I said, every nation has its pros and cons. It's part of humanity. But you know what? I'm gonna do a little grim detail on that. Not grim detail, but basic detail on it, which actually came out yesterday. And it says, read the Declaration of Independence tomorrow. Well, I say every day when you can, or be consistent at it. And let's just take that little read from the FPC blog, which is Firearms Policy Coalition, as it reads here: we, like many of you, will enjoy tomorrow's or today's 4th of July celebration with family, friends, food, and fireworks. And while those good things bring us together as a people, it's valuable to remember how we are as uniquely free United States came to be, and especially why. It has become a tradition for us to read aloud the Declaration of Independence on July 4th, which is today, to put on our celebration into a proper historical, philosophical, and emotional context. The law professor Josh Blackman currently notes. While you are enjoying your hot dogs and fireworks, praise the Declaration, which even today retains legally vitally. So tomorrow, or today, or whatever, but I'm just editing my own views here, we encourage you to set aside just a few minutes to read the Declaration in its entirety, and hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. That's right. That includes everything you read in the Bill of Rights. Okay, because the 9th Amendment is a reflection of that, of the Declaration of Independence, just to let everyone know. Randy Burnett, the Comrade Waterhouse Professor of Legal Theory, Georgetown University Law Center, and the Director of Georgetown Center for the Constitution, has an excellent analysis and some of the Declaration key claims that we encourage you to read and consider prior to reading the Declaration itself. When reading the Declaration, it's worth keeping in mind two very important facts. The Declaration constitutes high treason against the Crown, and every person who signed it would be executed as traitors should they be caught by the British. Second, the Declaration was considered to be a legal document, which by the revolutionaries justify their actions and explain why they were not truly traitors. It represented, as it were, literal indictment of the Crown and Parliament, in the same way that criminals are now publicly indicted for their alleged crimes by grand juries representing the people. But to justify a revolution, it was not thought to be enough that officials of the government of England, the Parliament, or even the sovereign himself has violated the rights of the people. No government is perfect. All governments violate rights. This was well known. So the Americans had to allege more than their mere violation of rights. They had to allege nothing short of a criminal conspiracy to violate their rights. Systematically. Hence, the famous reference to a long train of abuses and usurpations, and the list that followed. In some cases, these specific complaints account for provisions eventually included in the Constitution and Bill of Rights. The Declaration of Independence used to be read aloud at public gatherings every 4th of July. Today, while all Americans have heard of it, all too few have read more than its second sentence. Yet the Declaration shows the natural rights foundation of the American Revolution and provides important information about what makes a constitution or a government legitimate. It also raises the questions of how these fundamental rights are reconciled with the idea of the consent of the governed, for which the Declaration is so also famous. Later, the Declaration also assumes increasing importance in the struggle to abolish slavery. It is a foundational document of the 19th century abolitionists and was much relied upon by Abraham Lincoln. It had to be explained away by the Supreme Court in Dred Scott. Eventually, it was repudiated by some defenders of slavery in the South because of its inconsistency with that institution. To appreciate all that is packed into these two paragraphs, it is useful to break down the Declaration into some of its key claims. Such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government. The history of the present King of Great Britain, George III, is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states. To prove this, let the facts be submitted into a candid world. What follows is a bill of indictment. Several of these items ended up in the Bill of Rights. Others are addressed by form of the government established, first by the Articles of Confederation and ultimately the Constitution. The assumption of natural rights expressed in the Declaration of Independence can be summed up by the following proposition. First comes rights, then comes government. According to this view, the rights of individuals do not originate with any government, but pre-exist its formation. 2. The protection of these rights is the first duty of government. And 3. Even after government is formed, these rights provide a standard by which its performance is measured, and in extreme cases, its systematic failure to protect rights are systematic violation of rights can justify its alteration or abolition. 4. At least some of these rights are so fundamental they are inalienable, meaning they are so intimately connected to one's nature as a human being that they cannot be transferred to another even if one consent to do so. This is powerful stuff. Powerful stuff indeed. We at the Firearms Policy Coalition are honored to serve liberty and defend your inalienable rights from government actors who have forgotten what the 4th of July means. A happy and safe 4th of July to all of you. And everyone here, I will agree you have a happy, safe Independence Day. And not just to the people of the United States, but every freedom-loving, sovereign-thinking individual around the world that takes the initiative on listening to this show and plus sharing this to everyone else. This is what I like to do. Teach, enlighten, share information. And you can send your views with me as well. I do have an open platform. We can have disagreements, but as long as we do it with love and good faith, we can build a stronger platform, healthy dialogue, and a bolder foundation between all of us. They want us always divided. Like, good example, look what happened with the Confederate flag debacle. It was a total sham, and many of them got caught hook, line, and sinkered. That's one thing you have to observe. Pay attention. Don't let these people get caught in your web to usurpation or to tyranny. Because if you violate one's rights, who is going to be next? It could be yours. It becomes cancerous. That's like I said, our rights are inalienable, natural born, not given, never taken. Like they say in the police, if you're protesting peacefully or handing out information in front of a public building and they say you're soliciting, you go, no, I'm not. I'm exercising my rights and you can't take them away. Let them threaten to arrest you. It will blow back in their faces. Because why? Because that individual has a badge. They're just a governmental delegate. It's just an example. It's not condemning that particular entity. However, the principles that's in the Declaration of Independence, and even the people in the United States can look at their state constitutions as well. Look it up. There's things on inherited rights, basic rights, enumeration rights. Sometimes they have both. It's in our state constitutions, and those individuals in the state and local level as well cannot take those rights that are born in you. Plain and simple. Anything they legislate is null and void. Action speaks louder than words. Don't put your head in the sand. This is what our Declaration of Independence from Britain was about. That includes the Rothschilds, the central banks, and many other tyrannical entities out there, such as APAC, ADL, Southern Poverty Law Center. I can go on. Doesn't matter who they are, who they represent. You got a lot of tyrannical institutions in there trying to take away those rights you have. And you got to tell them to stick it as well. They don't want people united, but rather divided. They need us more we need them. So I think I'm going to end with that. So please share this Declaration of Independence to everyone. Do it tonight. You can do it later on. And you can do it tomorrow. It's fine. Teach. Remember this. Knowledge is freedom. And ignorance is enslavement. Speaking of freedom, it is one organization which is entitled Enlightened Zebra Society, which is zebrasociety.org. I'm going to add that to my footnotes with the Declaration of Independence. So it's very unique. And a colleague of mine I've met on Facebook, I think it's Alex Vidal, good guy. And he told me about this. He wants to try to get a local chapter. He wants me to get involved. And, you never know. I was thinking about it. And I'm taking the time to read on this. And I'll just we'll see what they're about. I'll just give you what they're about. I'll just keep it basic here. It says, a mission statement. The Zebra Society is a national grassroots organization dedicated to amending the U.S. Constitution to restore its founding principles. We will protect individual rights by abolishing victimless crime laws, ending sovereign immunity for government officials, and restoring jury rights through fully informed juries. We will restore economic liberty by replacing the IRS tax code with a simple flat tax, requiring foreign military actions to be fully funded, paying down the national debt and forbidding the federal government from borrowing. We will then ensure these changes are permanent by prohibiting the federal government from endlessly borrowing, preventing it from sending future generations into crippling debt. We will take on the federal government at any time it attempts to limit American freedom. Our team is a dedicated staff, advisors, and volunteers. We will use our diverse experience in U.S. legislators, including at the local, state, and national level, to take back this country from its federal predators. The zebras will rise. And they have a list on that. So you can really look into it. I'm going to add it to the footnotes for sure. And we'll just talk about what their team's about. Is William Falloon, founder, president, and he's an author. He did stuff for Donahue, and wrote a book, Pharmacy: How Corrupt Deals and Misguided Medical Regulations Are Bankrupting America. You have the managing director, Alex Vidal. Yes, okay, he's a good colleague of mine. Yeah, he's from Florida Cop Watch too, so definitely check him out, man. I met him; he's a good guy. So he told me about this. And you know what? That's pretty cool. So I'm gonna take the initiative on checking it out, and maybe just follow these people right now. Yep. They are Spreaker, by the way. No, not Spreaker, but I was gonna say Twitter. So follow them on Twitter and Facebook and all that good stuff. But say Alex Vidal is an activist and media producer who is passionate about community. He served as communications director for his local and state Libertarian Party affiliates, as well as marketing manager for the Free and Equal Foundation. Alex created Florida Cop Watch in 2013, now the largest and most active police accountability group. He is dedicated to building a truly free, peaceful society based on consent. And you got Dan Johnson, who's a political advisor, president of the Solution Institution, the founder of PANDA, People Against the NDAA. Yes, a very young man, by the way, very articulate. And just look up Panda, man. He is fantastic. He's on many shows, Liberty Roundtable, Coast to Coast, RT's America, Breaking the Set. I believe he was on the Pete Santilli, which I'm not crazy about Pete Santilli in general. He has some lots of rough edges, or very, I would say, unethical practices. Gordon Duff, for an example, like regardless of what these people think, even if you do it to my enemy, record them conversations, I find that unacceptable. Without their consent, of course. That's what I'm saying, it's unacceptable. However, he's really good, and people, like the whole goal is, people gotta be proactive. Don't complain, start doing. That's what we got these organizations for. And they need money like everyone else, but still, you can still inspire others, yeah? And of course, let's talk about the issues, social, economic issues. Take action. They have a petition. They have events around the country. So this is really cool. And I'm just curious about how accurate is that debt. And don't get me wrong, I'm like the simple flat tax has its pros and cons as well. However, I always say it's a one step closer of abolishing income taxes. Period. That's how I see it, and I address that in good faith. But it's always you gotta look at all angles. You gotta think strategically. But it says here in their petition, in question of power, then no one let be heard of confidence in men, but bind him down from mischief by the chains of the Constitution. That is Thomas Jefferson on 7th November 1798. And the petition here, federal government is out of control. Its predatory practices are stealing from the hard works of millions of Americans, locking up millions more, and destroying the freedoms of future generations. We can stop this and restore our founding principles. Zebra Society has a 6-point initial plan to restore our social and economic prosperity. 1. Social justice. 1. Abolish victims' crime laws. No victim, no crime. 2. End sovereign immunity for government officials. That includes diplomats. 3. Restore fully informed juries. Jurors can nullify bad laws. I agree with that. 4. Is economic liberty. Replace the IRS income tax code with a simple flat tax. I already addressed what I think about it, but it's a step closer of getting rid of the IRS, so that's one thing I like. Everything can be done by steps here. 5. Require any foreign military actions to be fully funded. Any foreign military actions to be fully funded. Okay, 6, pay down national debt and forbid federal government from borrowing. Regular Americans had enough. Have you tell Congress it's time for a real 6-point solution. Sign a petition to tell Congress to pass a 6-point plan. So I'm gonna add this to my comments, but like I said, I'll do that later on. I'm just give you examples about taking action and all that. They have petitions, volunteer, donate, spread the word, and you can share this to everyone else. You can use my Spreaker page as well. You can tell them, look, the third sent you. So please, that would be fantastic. And definitely, take the initiative on checking it out, my friends. Yeah, because one thing I tell folks. Oh, hold on here. I got this something here. Yeah, so I'm just gonna post it on Twitter, Facebook, and Google Plus. Yeah, I wanna check this out. And like I always say, people, nothing's gonna be perfect, but you know what? You can still make things happen. We all can take the initiative on doing something. And so this is why, like myself, hey, always do this show for free. And hey, I enjoy it. So just to put that information out to folks. So so like I said, definitely support these guys, and they'll be greatly appreciated. And let's just see here. What happened was I tried to do a podcast yesterday, and I took a chance to do it on my computer, and I was in some compromised Wi-Fi zone, which is like shut me down. I'm like, oh crap. So that's okay. It's one of those days it happens. However, I'm gonna go through here and let you know what I've found very, very interesting. And this one here is from End of the American Dream. .com. It's entitled "Government Trolls Are Using Psychology-Based Influence Techniques on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter." This is by Michael Snyder. Good guy, but definitely check him out. It says here, have you ever come across someone on the internet that you suspected was a paid government troll? Oh, yes, I have. I get very inspired, too, especially by straw men and straw girls that's blowing smoke up your rectum, yeah? I will continue on here. Well, there's a very good chance that you were not imagining things. Thanks to Edward Snowden, we now have solid proof that paid government trolls are using psychology-based influence techniques on social media websites such as YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Government leaked by Snowden also revealed that government agents have been conducting denial of service attacks, flooding social media websites with thinly veiled propaganda, and have been purposely attempting to warp public discourse online. If we don't stand up and object to this kind of overwhelming behavior, it is going to only get worse and worse. In the UK, the Joint Threat Research Intelligence Group, which is GTRIG, is a specialized unit within the Government Communications Headquarters, GCHQ. If it wasn't for Edward Snowden, we probably still would never have heard of them. This particular specialized unit is engaged in some very questionable online activities. The following is an excerpt from a recent piece by Glenn Greenwald and Andrew Fishman, as it says here. Through its existence was secret last year until GTRIG quickly developed a distinctive profile in the public understanding after documents from NSA whistleblower Edward Snowden revealed that the unit had engaged in dirty tricks like deploying sexual honey traps designed to discredit targets, launching the denial of service attacks to shut down internet chat rooms, pushing vile propaganda onto social networks, and generally warping discourse online. We told that GTRIG only use these techniques to go after the bad guys, but precisely who are the bad guys? It turns out their definition of who's the bad guy is broad. Here is more from Glenn Greenwald and Andrew Fishman. GTRG's domestic and law enforcement operations are made clear. The report states that a controversial unit currently collaborates with other agencies, including the Metropolitan Police, Secret Service, MI5, Serious Organized Crime Agency, SOCA, Border Agency, Revenue and Customs, which is HMRC, and National Public Order and Intelligence Unit, NPOIU. The document highlights that key GTRIG objectives include providing intelligence for judicial outcomes, monitoring domestic extremist groups such as the English Defense League by conducting online HUMIT, denying, deterring, or dissuading criminals and hacktivists, and deterring, disrupting, or degrading online consumerism of stolen data or child porn, like fishermen. Particularly disturbing to me is the phrase domestic extremist groups. What does someone have to say or to be considered an extremist? For example, the English Defense League is a non-violent street protest movement in the UK that's strongly against the spread of radical Islam and Sharia law in the UK. So, if they are extremists, how many millions upon millions of ordinary citizens in the United States would fit in that definition? When conducting operations against extremists, psychologically based influence techniques are among the tools that GTRIG uses to combat them online. The following comes from one of the documents that was posted by Greenwald and Fishman. It says here, psychologically based influence techniques. 3.2, theories and research in the field of social psychology may prove particularly useful for informing GTRIG effects and online HUMIT operations. The following topics would particularly relevant for social influence. Social cognition, including social perception and attribution, attitudes, persuasive communications, conformity, obedience, interpersonal relationships, trust and distrust, psychological profiling. In addition, the application of social psychological ideas to market and advertising would be useful. In other words, these government trolls try to mess with people's minds. And here is another document that was posted by Greenwald and Fishman that talks about how GTRIG uses YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter to accomplish their goals. 2.5, operation methods and techniques. All of GTRG's operations are conducted using cyber technology. Staff describe a range of methods, techniques that have been used to update for conducting effects operations. These included uploading YouTube videos containing persuasive communications to discredit, promote, distrust, dissuade, deter, delay, or disrupt. Setting up Facebook groups, forums, blogs, and Twitter accounts that encourage and monitor discussions on a topic. To discredit, promote distrust, dissuade, deter, delay, or disrupt. So, in other words, it means distraction. Establishing online aliases and personalities who support the communications or messages in YouTube videos, Facebook groups, forums, blogs, etc. Establishing online alias personalities who support other aliases. Sending spoof emails, a text message from a fake person for mimicking a real person. To discredit, promote distrust, dissuade, deceive, deter, delay, or disrupt. Providing spoof online resources such as magazines and books that provided inaccurate information to disrupt, delay, deceive, discredit, promote distrust, dissuade, to deter, or denigrate or degrade. Provide online access to uncensored materials to disrupt. Sending instant messages to specific individuals, giving them instructions for accessing uncensored websites, setting up spoof trade sites or sellers that may take a customer's money and send customers degraded or spoof products to deny, disrupt, degrade, to integrate, delay, deceive, discredit, dissuade, or deter. Interrupting, i.e., filtering, deleting, creating, or modifying communications between real customers and traders. To deny, disrupt, delay, deceive, dissuade, or deter. Taking over control of online websites. To deny, disrupt, discredit, or delay. Denial of telephone and computer service. To deny, delay, or disrupt. Hosting targets. Online communications websites for collecting signet. To disrupt, delay, deter, or deny. Contacting host websites asking them to remove material. To deny, disrupt, delay, dissuade, or deter. A lot of discouraging things here, my friends, which is nothing new. it's very disturbing to think that some of the people that we may be interacting with on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter are actually paid government agents that are purposely trying to feed us propaganda and misinformation. And of course, this kind of thing does not just happen in the United Kingdom. In Canada, it has been publicly admitted that the government uses paid trolls to warp internet discourse. The following comes from Natural News, and there's a lot of links on here on this page as well to definitely verify these. You've probably run into them before, those seemingly random antagonizers who always end up diverting the conversation in an online chat room or article comment section away from the issue at hand. That's true, and towards much different agenda. Hot button issues like illegal immigration, two-party political system, the war on terror, and even alternative medicine are among the most common targets of such attackers, known as internet trolls or shills, who in many cases are nothing more than paid lackeys hired by the federal government organization, government, and other international organizations to sway and ultimately control public opinion. Several years ago, Canada CTV News aired a short segment about how its own government had been exposed for hiring secret agents to monitor social media and track online conversations, as well as the activities of certain dissenting individuals. This report, in which obvious whitewashing language refer in such activities as the government simply weighing in and correcting allegedly false information posted online, basically admitted that the Canadian government had assumed the role of secret online police. You can actually watch a video report that's happening up in Canada right here. There's a link for that too, folks, so check it out. Needless to say, the U.S. government is also engaged in this kind of activity as well. For instance, the U.S. government has actually been caught manipulating discourse of re-edit and editing Wikipedia. When it comes to spying, there is nobody that is off limits for our spooks. It just came out recently that we even spied on 3 French presidents, and they're supposed to be our, quote, friends, unquote. And just like the UK, the U.S. government has a very broad definition of extremist. This has especially been true since Barack Obama has been in the White House. If you doubt this, you can see my previous article, 72 types of Americans that are considered potential terrorists in official government documents. Oh yeah, absolutely. If you're a freedom lover and sovereign thinker, you could be on that list as well as a potential terrorist. Run to the hills. What would Thomas Paine have to say about that, right? He'll probably be considered a terrorist by writing Common Sense, for goodness sakes. Just to give you guys an example. It's all very disturbing to me that why can't they just leave us alone and let us talk to one another? Why do they have to spy on everything that we do and purposely try to manipulate public discourse? Why do they have to be such control freaks? What do you think? Please feel free to join the discussion by posting a comment below. Well, you can do what you want, folks. And you got some good people out there, or very, 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 very articulate. So you can read the comments yourselves and check it out. It's a good article, man. Like Michael Snyder's always been on target in a lot of areas. I tell people, even with these government trolls and shills and plants and stuff, you have to always observe responses. Don't get caught in their hype. You always like these little distractions. A la the Confederate flag, which I probably talked about earlier. Same thing. It's a total distraction. They got us off. Many people off on the TPA, the TPP, the TPIP. They use that to push that agenda. All right, the road to technocracy. Just giving you an example. And I've experienced trolls, straw men, straw girls. They want to blow smoke up everyone's behind. I just laugh at them, okay? Because I know for sure why I'm going to get angry with them. And even when you go to like somebody's like political like Facebook page on political arena, and some people just rant, they just digress the daylights out of certain subjects, and I just start laughing. Just focus on the target and tell it like it is. If someone don't like it, have an honorable discussion. Who cares about these people calling you names? If someone calls me a name, I get inspired by it, okay? Because I remember one time they had some little political thing happened with Dianne Feinstein, and I know her information may not be accurate, but she has that same mindset when it comes to, right to bear arms. She's a big, I would say, anti-freedom senator that wants to restrict firearms, wants to ban them. So what happened was I had a picture of Barack Obama sitting on a toilet, okay? As one of my comments. One lady said, "How dare you have a photo of the president sitting on the toilet? That's disrespectful and distasteful. And how about we have your mother to do that, or be naked in the shower? Everyone will be laughing." And that's the way she'll she's gonna throw my mother into the loop, which I find I can't get mad. I just find it hilarious. So I wrote back to her with her name. I go, "With all due respect," I put her name on there. I go, "Senator Feinstein and President Obama, Dianne Feinstein and President Obama have something in common. They're both unmeritable politicians that despise our U.S. Bill of Rights culture. Furthermore, respect has to be earned rather than given." You know what? She couldn't refute it. I got a good amount of people gave me thumbs up. I didn't go around getting mad. "How dare you talk about my mother? I don't even know this person. And she's supposed to be some woman of God, And I'm not, I'm not gonna criticize someone's creed, but please, when you have these discussions, try to use decorum. It's a name calling. That's like you're just wasting your own time, and that's dishonorable. Because you never know. You never know, because you may have your differences in some certain debates, and one day you may have something in common. This time I surprise certain people in those particular areas. They get shocked, like, "Wow, that's pretty cool. We got something in common." Like, there you go, common interest. So that's why I always tell people, you gotta watch out for these little trolls. I'm gonna add a link, actually 2 links to that. I'm intending to add Propaganda by Ed Bernays. He has an actual website on that, and Sun Tzu, The Art of War. I'm going to try to get a particular link for that, add it to the footnotes on this particular subject. And please, examine it, put it in your files, share it to everyone you know, because then when you learn the public relations machine, and how to be strategic at it, you will drive these people, trolls and shills and government peeping toms, crazy. Guarantee you that. Because that's what they want. They want divide and rule. Strength comes in numbers. Unity is beautiful. You can toss your disagreements to the side and focus on this. About, hey, to hell with your big brother Orwellian technique. Then you can get them angry, and you can be inspired to say, "Hey, thank you. I'm not to be like you." That's all I have to say on this subject matter. However, I'm going to be hitting this other link here pertaining to domestic violent extremism, and this is actually okay. No problem. Oh, it's not responding. Okay, well, the hell with you too. Okay, the PDF viewer. I'm gonna put this back here. This one's pretty interesting. Not interesting, but pretty insulting. This actually came out a couple days ago, to be exact. This is from personalliberty.com, which that's a good website. Check it out. And it's from title: GOP bill would create new DHS office to counter domestic violent extremism. And you see the GOP's postal downsize government. Well, this bill from one of GOP contradicts themselves. Can we say Michael Moore, Rosie O'Donnell syndrome, based on some of their actions in the past? But hopefully they repent. All right, I'm going to hit this one here, and it says here, Texas Republican Representative Michael McCall wants to create a new arm of the Department of Homeland Security dedicated to combating domestic violent extremists. The lawmakers introduced this month the Countering Violent Extremism Act, which would create a new office coordination for counter violent extremism under DHS authority. Feds know best. Woo! According to the bill, the new law enforcement entity would be responsible for activities including identify risk factors that contribute to violent extremism in communities in the United States, assessing the methods used by violent extremists to decimate propaganda and messaging to communicate at risk for radicalization and recruitment, and establishing a counter-measuring program to combat domestic violent extremism. We think there should be a better countering violent extremism effort, that there should be a lead agency tasked to handle that. McCall said earlier in the month, following a congressional hearing of ISIS used for social media for recruitment. ISIS on social media. You know, but ISIS, if people don't know yet, if you don't know, they are funded by your buddies from the New World Order and their little offsprings, I would say, okay? So definitely check that out. So don't let ISIS get to you, my friends, all right? It's like another scarecrow or jack-lantern of fear. And now we'll keep on going. The lawmaker bill will create the lead agency and fund it with $10 million per year for the next 5 years. While the new Texas lawmaker and his fellow Republicans' main goal with such legislation is fronting out Islamic extremists living in the U.S. bill is likely to gain support among congressional Democrats, whose main domestic terror concerns center around a perceived growing threat of right-wing extremism in the U.S. So the Tea Party could be considered domestic violent extremists. Oh my goodness. Ooh. Air raid sirens. And of course, on the left, you got to expect the Occupy movement as well. They're considered terrorists. Oh my goodness! Let's all bury our heads in the sand and go, please go away. And we'll continue on here. A group of Senate Democrats recently initiated a push for congressional inquiry into whether the threat of white supremacist domestic terror is on the rise in the wake of the killing of 9 black churchgoers in Charleston, South Carolina on June 17th. If the same act has been perpetrated by someone claiming desire to harm Americans in the service of the Islamist principles, it would immediately be labeled an act of terror. The senators, led by ranking Democrat Patrick Leahy of Vermont, said in a written petition for hearings, a violent act motivated by racist desire to intimidate a civilian population falls squarely with the definition of domestic terrorism. And actually, the bill number is H.R. 2899. Okay. And it's short for the CVE, the CV Act. All right. So and this I've read the bill. Okay, there's a link for that, 2899, and it's supposed to amend the Homeland Security Act of 2002. And what really gets me, I'm like looking through the pages. This is 8 pages long. Just hit that title of the Counter Violent Extremism Act, and it'll take you right to the PDF format, homeland.house.gov. All right, and this is really interesting when they had a definition of right-wing extremism, and I'm looking for that right now as we speak. But I do find this pretty damn hilarious, and it's I got it right here. Yeah, I found it right here, and it's like I would say on the 7th page to be exact. Or 8th page, right? Is it the 8th page? Yeah, the 8th page, and says here, violent extremism defined. In this section, the term violent extremism means ideologically motivated terrorist activities. Ideologically, okay? And to me, respectfully, it is really vague. Okay, so if you call someone a bend over Bob to the New World Order with a megaphone, can that be a violent extremism? Just to let you think about it. Okay, I just really really have to scratch my head. Some people say, about certain techniques, about violence and so forth. But how this is written, it's really I'm very skeptic how this is going to be implemented if passed, H.R. 2899. But I would recommend everyone to contact your congressman or woman and call these vultures out to say, the hell with H.R. 2899, because the war on terror is a war with ourselves or a conflagration with the people. That's how I observed this bill. Okay, I read it yesterday. So, and this is really, it scratches my head. And what happens if you have government plants or hired buffoons create domestic terrorism? They're gonna say, oh, we need $20 million for the next 5 years per year for 5 years. So this is more of a bribe. And right now, the economy in the United States and the world is going to hell in a handbasket. More of our finances going to a whirlpool. All right, down the drain. So I am real convinced that this is nothing more than a rhetorical deception. So definitely, when you look at HR 2899, okay, with this page, please examine this thoroughly. But I recommend you vote no. You tell your congressman petition no on this ludicrous referendum. So that's all I'm going to say about that. You could examine this and judge for yourselves. So please, I'm not here to lobby or anything like that. I want everyone here to contemplate themselves and look at these things on their own free will. All right? So I do find that essential. Okay? Let me see here. Yep, let me see here. Whoop. All right, I'm done with that. And this is pretty damn interesting right here, and which I'm very pleased with, like pretty fascinated. This came from Judicial Watch. And hold on here. Come on. Oh, nice. Thank you. Oh, I got it down here. Awesome. Yeah, and this is from Judicial Watch, and this one here is a lot of interesting stuff what these guys do. They're like the watchdogs over government, and they're a not-for-profit organization, but definitely, take the initiative supporting these guys because they do a fantastic job. And it's up there on Fox News and all that, which is fine, but you know what? But you read the information yourself. They go after everybody, okay? It's not just the Democrats. It's everybody. And there's times I use their information against their supporters and the candidates themselves, and they're like cockroaches. You put a big flashlight on and they scatter when you nail that information with them towards them, and they don't know what to say. So definitely, hold on here. Looks like it's getting a little compromised for the moment. But this is, first of all, it's going to be like 3 areas here. First is going to be the Benghazi Breakthrough. Benghazi lies began with Obama and Hillary. Yeah, and it says here, when the complete history is written of the 2012 attacks in Benghazi, Libya, the dishonesty and duplicity of the Obama White House will be an inescapable fact. As we celebrate Independence Day, Americans ought to be disturbed about the ethical quality of the men and women in high office. The signers of the Declaration of Independence would surely be against the unethical lawless leadership in Washington, D.C. Amen, to be exact. However, I think the founders would be happy with the vigilance and persistence of Judicial Watch in holding our government leaders accountable for their misdeeds. To that end, that this week we released the new State Department documents, which they're all like in light blue, aqua blue fonts. You could definitely check the links out yourselves and judge for yourself. I said to yourselves twice, okay? All right, it says here, showing that Hillary Clinton and the State Department's response to the Benghazi attack was immediately determined by top Obama White House officials, particularly Ben Rose, then White House Deputy Strategic Communications Advisor, and Bernadette Meehan, a spokesperson for the National Security Council. The new documents were forced from the State Department under court order in a Judicial Watch Freedom of Information lawsuit or FOIA. As of September 2011, email sent at 6:21 p.m. by State Department spokesperson Victoria Nolan to Meehan, Undersecretary for Management Patrick F. Kennedy, and Clinton's personal aide Jacob Sullivan. Yes. shows that the State Department deferred to the White House on the official response to the Benghazi attack. Referencing pending press statements by Barack Obama and Clinton, Nolan wrote, "We're holding for Rhodes clearance, BMM. Please advise ASAP." Meehan responded 3 minutes later at 6:24 p.m. "Ben is good with these and is on with Jake now too." Rhodes sent an email at 9:48 p.m. to senior White House and state officials on issue which would let the State Department statement be our comment for the night. An email from Meehan sent at 10:15 p.m. on September 11th to Rhodes, Nolan, Sullivan, Kennedy, and Clinton aide Felipe Rennes. Further confirmation is the White House approval of Hillary Clinton's statement tying to Benghazi terrorist attack to internet videos. All the State Department just released the following statement. Peter Ben Rhodes, email below. This should be the USG comment for that night. The USG comment turned out to be Clinton's notorious public statement made hours of the initial terrorist attack, falsely suggesting that the Benghazi assault was a response for inflammatory material posted on the internet. Rhodes emailed Meehan, Sullivan, and Rennes at 11:45 p.m. on September 11th, writing, "FYI, we are considering release this tonight. The next time is redacted." The email also included a readout of President's call to Secretary Clinton, the contents of which are also completely redacted. On September 12th, the day after the attack, Meehan sent an email to Obama administration officials announcing that to ensure we are all in sync on messaging for the rest of the day, Ben Rhodes will host a conference call for the USG communicators on his chain at 9:15 a.m. ET time. Think about this timeline. Obama and Hillary Clinton talk. The White House, along with the state that composes and issues Hillary Clinton's statements falsely, trying to internet video to the attack. We can't find any other government documents other than Hillary's statement that September 11, 2012, night tying the attack to the video. This all leads me to conclude that Hillary Clinton originated the video lie in a partnership with the Obama White House, and I am willing to bet that phone call earlier between Clinton and Obama set the whole lie in motion. As I told Fox News this week, the details of the call were helpful. The details would be released. As they were being kept secret, one can assume the details of the Obama-Clinton call are damning. As if the new White House bombshells weren't enough, the new documents show that the Obama administration engaged domestic and foreign Islamist groups and foreign nationals to push the internet narrative. The day after the attack, Rashad Hussain, the Obama administration's special envoy to the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, OIC, sent an email to the ambassador Gakson, the OIC's ambassador to the United Nations, Senk Uraz, and the official with the OIC, pushing the video as the cause of the Benghazi attack. The OIC is supported by 57 nations and purports to be the collective voice of the Muslim world. The IOC is no friend of freedom and is apologist for terrorism, to put it charitably. So this pernicious international body is, of course, a key ally for Obama's Benghazi disinformation campaign. The Obama's envoys emails has the subject line, urgent anti-Islamic film and violence, and reads in part, I am sure you are considering put a statement on the film and related violence, in addition to the commendation of the disgusting depictions. It would be important to emphasize the need to respond in a way that is consistent with Islamic principles, i.e. not engaging in violence and taking innocent lives. The IOC statement sent to Hussain by the OIC's Uraz linked the film as requested by the Obama administration to the Benghazi attack and suggested that the United States restrict free speech in response. The official OIC statement called the film incitement and stated that the attack in Benghazi and the demonstration in Cairo emanated from emotions aroused by a production of a film that had hurt the religious sentiments of Muslims. The two incidences demonstrated serious repercussions. abuse of freedom of expression. The OIC statement referenced in its own efforts to criminalize criticism of Islam. Hussein sent the OIC statement immediately to other Obama administration officials, including then Clinton Chief of Staff Cheryl Mills, who thanks Hussein for the email. The State Department withheld the communications on September 12, 2012 between Hillary Clinton's senior aide Huma Abedin and Rasad Hussein about an article passed by him about how American Muslim leaders were tying the video to the Benghazi attack. At the time of the Benghazi attack, Abedin had been double-dipping work as a consultant to the outside clients while continuing as a top advisor at State. Abedin's outside clients include Teneo, a strategic consulting firm co-founded by former Bill Clinton counselor Doug Band. According to the Fox News, Abedin earned $355,000 as a consultant for Teneo, in addition to her $135,000 special government employee compensation. There is more. The State Department is also disclosed a document dated September 13, 2012, entitled USG Outreach and Engagement Post-Benghazi Attack. This record details how the Obama administration reached out to domestic groups, foreign groups, and governments and full-court press to tie the video to the Benghazi attack. The document captures USG efforts to engage outside voices to encourage public statements that denounce the attack, make it clear that the anti-Muslim film does not reflect Americans. Psych, the document highlights the use of Hillary Clinton's statements tying the terrorist attack into an internet video. The outreach document also highlights special envoy's engagement with the OIC and the Saudi ambassador. The documents show that the internet video was raised in a September 15th discussion between Hillary Clinton and Turkish Foreign Minister Ahmet Davutoglu. Hope I pronounced his name correctly. The eye-only secret document was partially declassified. Davutoglu called the controversial anti-Islam video a clear provocation, but added that wise people should not be provoked by it. The next line is blacked out, and the markings show it will not be declassified until 2017, more than 12 years from now. Good grief. Dumb, stagnant, and happy. We don't have a clue. That's why they think that you're so damn stupid that they have to wait 12 years to put it released. Give me a break. Bunch of cowards, yeah? Bunch of jackass as far as I'm concerned. All right, another email evidently from the Office of the Secretary of Defense, OSD, sent to Menon and other top White House and administration officials shows that the administration took action to deploy military assets almost 5 hours after the attack begun. OSD has queries asking if military assets are being sent to either location, Libya and Egypt, have responded to our knowledge. The State Department referred Judicial Watch to document in a batch of 55,000 emails allegedly turned over by the Hillary Clinton and search in response to the court order in this lawsuit. These emails were published on the State Department's website, but are also available here. In addition, the State Department produced new documents containing Hillary Clinton's emails in one such email. September 11, 2012 at 11:40 p.m. From Clinton to New Lodge, Sullivan and top Clinton aide Cheryl Mills with the subject line. Chris Smith, Clinton writes, Cheryl told me the Libyans confirmed his death. We should re-announce tonight or wait until morning. Miller responds, we need to Psych or CK families truthers. If they are okay, we should put something out for you tonight. Mills then replies to Newland, taking S or Secretary of State Hillary Clinton off. Sean Smith, not Chris Smith, was one of the 4 Americans killed at Benghazi. On September 13, 2012, Politico's Mike Allen sent then National Security Council spokesman Tom Bearder an independent.co.uk news article entitled America was warned of embassy attack but did nothing. The story reported that senior officials are increasingly convinced that the Benghazi attack was not the full result of spontaneous anger. Vizier forwarded the story to the other top White House and State Department officials, but Vader's accompanied comments and the comments of other top Obama appointees are completely redacted. The administration's also redacted several emails of top state officials discussing a statement by a Romney campaign spokesman criticizing the security situation in Libya. In April 2014, Judicial Watch first obtained smoking gun documents showing that it was Obama's White House public relations effort that falsely portrayed the Benghazi consulate terrorist attack as being rooted in an internet video and not a failure of policy. The documents included an email by White House operative Ben Rhodes sent on Friday, September 14, 2012, with the subject line, in reference, RE, prep call with Susan, Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. This prep was for Ambassador Susan Rice in advance of her appearance on Sunday's news show to discuss discussing Benghazi attack and defect criticism of the administration's security failure by blaming the attack on spontaneous protests linked to the video. The email listed is one of the administration's key talking points. Goal to underscore that these protests are rooted in an internet video and not broader failure or policy. So the goal is not to tell the truth. Just so we're clear on that much, we have uncovered in just the past few days as part of the larger continuum. Documents released by our team last month further confirmed that the Obama administration, including Hillary Clinton, Rice, and Obama, immediately knew the attack was an al-Qaeda terrorist attack. These latest documents show the Obama White House was behind the big lie, first promoted by Hillary Clinton, that an internet video caused by the Benghazi terrorist attack. The top White House aide, Ben Rhodes, Hillary Clinton, and many key Obama officials pushed over, including Islamist terror allies, to tie the internet video to the attacks. How is it disturbing is that the Obama administration would use Islamist radicals to push the false flag, the false Benghazi story, in a way that will abridge free speech. It is little wonder that Mrs. Clinton and the entire Obama administration have fought so hard to keep these documents from the American people. All evidence now points to Hillary Clinton, with the approval of the White House, as being the source of the internet video lie. Obama and Hillary Clinton failed the nation, and most terribly, U.S. Ambassador J. Christopher Stevens and U.S. Foreign Service Information Management Office Sean Smith were both killed in Benghazi terrorist attacks on September 11, 2012. Several hours after the initial assault and a second terrorist attack took place, targeting a different compound located just 1 mile away. 2 CI contractors, Tyrone Woods and Glenn Daugherty, were killed in the second attack, and 10 others were injured. The Obama gang failed those 2 heroes as well. We aim to vindicate them, and that is why we are happy to do the work of an AWOL Congress, media, and federal bureaucracy, and ferreting out the truth about this continuing scandal. And I have to commend Judicial Watch for this too, because I do remember when people saw that speech live that was Barack Obama addressing he's got to attack Libya with the assistance of NATO and using Al-Qaeda to fight to overthrow Muammar Gaddafi. All right. September 11th is an interesting date. Look what happened with the World Trade Center, Pentagon, and the plane crash in Pennsylvania. And of course, we can think about what happened on September 11th in 1973 when to overthrow the government of Chile, because they were want to be more sovereign, try to nationalize resources and get rid of foreign influences. Allegedly Harry Kissinger was behind that. And September 11th is supposed to be a real strange date as well. There's a lot of strange history that happened on that particular day. You have to do your homework on it in good faith. Plus, another reason why we can say too, in a down to earth point of view about why they attacked Benghazi, blowback. When you try to take over a country and try to do it your way, instead of emulate freedom, but trying to shove it down their throats on the American way, it will blow back in people's faces. Because a good example is Operation Ajax that happened in Iran. Okay, when they overthrew the prime minister, Mohammed Mossadegh, they put in the Shah. 25 years later, a revolution happened. We had 52 American hostages suffered from it. Innocent people. It's called blowback. Read the book, by the way, Blowback. So by I think it's called Anders Johnson. That would be the person. But you go to the library, you can check it out. But this is nothing. I never believed about the anti-Muhammad video. That's totally pathetic. And that's why these politicians believe you're that stupid. okay, and pathetic. And they believe you don't even have a leg to stand on. Like, you need them. And you know what? I say piss on these people. And I mean that with love. I hate using sometimes vulgarity, if I admit it. But I get a little bit insulted as well, all right? The hell with these people. They need us more we need them. And I'm continuing on here with another story. It's called Supreme Court Considers Racial Favoritism Challenge. After the constitutional horror of last week, the Supreme Court acted appropriately this week in granting cert in a case that could further end the pernicious racial favoritism in college admissions. Your JW, in partnership with our frequent Benghazi Breakthrough partner, the Allied Educational Foundation, or AEF, filed a Benghazi brief earlier this year supporting the request to the court to take up the issue again. Since 2005, the University of Texas at Austin has used race in its admission process, purportedly to achieve great diversity in the student body. Applicants to the university are currently required to complete and submit a standardized applied Texas application, which require applicants to identify themselves as race and state, whether they are Hispanic or Latino ethnicity. Abigail Fisher was denied admission to UT in 2008 after she filed suit allegedly that the university had discriminated against her and her co-plaintiff, Rachel Makowitz, because of their race. In January 2011, the Fifth Court ruled in favor of UT, prompting Fisher to appeal the decision to the U.S. Supreme Court. In June 2013, the Supreme Court ruled that the Fifth Court has failed to apply strict scrutiny to the university's race-based admissions policy, remanding the case to the Circuit Court, which on July 25, 2014, again ruled in favor of UT. This brings us to the present moment as the Supreme Court will once again review the Fifth Circuit's rubber stamping UT's race-based admissions program. Of course, liberals at the Supreme Court helped create this racialist approach to education opportunity. In 2003, the Supreme Court ruled that race-based admissions policies at the University of Michigan School of Law were constitutional. I hope the decision will be subjected to fresh scrutiny when the current Supreme Court considers the Fisher case during the term that begins in October 2015. The Supreme Court can't act soon enough, as we argue in our most recent brief. Human race and ethnicity are inherited ambiguous social constructs that have no validity in science. Invoking race and ethnicity to promote diversity relies on racial and ethnic stereotyping of individuals' viewpoints, backgrounds, and experiences. Admission policies such as policy enacted by the university, which seek to classify applicants by crude, inherently ambiguous, and unsound racial and ethnic categories to promote diversity, but which instead promote racial and ethnic stereotyping and can never be narrowly tailored to promote a compelling government interest. By repeatedly refusing to uphold the basic right to equal protection under the law, the Fifth Circuit Court is attempting to turn pseudoscience into settled law. Despite the Supreme Court's ruling to the contrary, the University of Texas should focus on educating the students and rather running a divisive and unlawful racial spoils program. The admission policies of the University of Texas at Austin are at odds with the Constitution and promote racial theories that have no basis in science. It is time for the Supreme Court to apply the U.S. Constitution and law as to put an end to this unlawful practice. And I have to agree, because the truth of the matter is the University of Texas in Austin is funded by the people of that particular state. And when you think about that, it does violate Article 1 of their state constitution as well, because their natural born rights are being violated. They're not a private entity, it's a public establishment. I do digress. And so I am glad these individuals took the initiative on going after them. And even the people over there should need to realize that you cannot be discriminated on those grounds. Period. It's no ands, ifs, or buts. And the folks on this show, if you live in Texas, share this information to everyone as well, because this is your state. You are entitled to call these people out in the University of Texas in Austin or wherever. The Longhorns, okay? Not the Longhorns or Greenhorns, okay? Just to give you guys a fact. Definitely, this is a good move. They need to push this a little further, and the Supreme Court needs to apply the U.S. Constitution, and the University of Texas has got to apply to both U.S. and their own state constitution. No ends, ifs, or buts. And that's all I'm going to say about that. And it says here, finally, Happy Independence Day. On July 4, 1776, our founding fathers took an extraordinary step out, not only declaring American independence from the British Empire, but also laying the groundwork for a nation in which every citizen was equal in the eyes of the law. The Declaration of Independence, along with our Constitution, represents the best of the American spirit, a commitment to freedom, representative government, and the rule of law. As you take the time to celebrate Independence Day this weekend, I hope you join me in reflecting on the blessings of our liberty, the sacrifices of those who have died to win and preserve it, and the need to every day remain vigilant, safeguarding that liberty against all enemies, foreign and domestic. However, these freedoms come at a price. That millions of Americans throughout our history have paid with their blood. In fact, since the American Revolution, more than 1 million American servicemen and women have given their lives in the defense of the United States, and hundreds of thousands more have been injured in the line of duty, many times in ways that fundamentally changed their lives. Their sacrifices will never be in vain. However, because they have fought for this is nothing less than the cause of liberty, I hope you get the chance to thank a veteran or two this weekend. They are the reason why the American experiment birthed by Washington, Jefferson, and the rest of our founding fathers remains alive and well today. That experiment, however, will always need to be defended by citizens, not just its brave military members. Though we enjoy the freedoms I mentioned earlier, that are those who constantly seek to limit those freedoms or take them away altogether. So I close with some of the words that gave birth of our nation from our Declaration of Independence, words that highlight our God-given right and warn despots that use of government to usurp those rights will not be tolerated. It says here, we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. They are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights. That among these are life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles, organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence, indeed, will dictate that government long established found not to be changed for light and transient cause. And accordingly, all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations pursuing invariably the same object evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. As I implied in the Benghazi report above, you can count on Judicial Watch to fight the long train of big government abuses and usurpations. Thank you for your support in our effort to preserve our nation and inalienable rights. On behalf of all of us here at Judicial Watch, I wish you and yours a wonderful Independence Day. God bless you and the United States of America. And you could donate. There's a donate link on this page as well. And they are right. Always remain vigilant. Pay homage to the people that served. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of issues going on with our military-industrial complex, which I am opposed. Henry Kissinger believed that soldiers are dumb animals. They're not. They're beautiful human beings. They have their problems. They've been drugged up. They've been mind controlled, many of them. A lot of them are learning to wake up. It takes time. Many of them are putting their message out. Strong. I have people who serve in Desert Storm. I love them dearly and always pay respect for them and still stay in touch at the best of my ability. We always got to thank all these men and women that serve and thank the ones that fight on a domestic level, on political, constitutional, and preserving the natural born rights without bellying up. And the ones that believe you got to give up a little bit of our freedom for security, you deserve neither. Benjamin Franklin's quote. And all these other individuals that say they can't do anything about it. Don't lie to yourself. You're cheating on everyone else, including the one you need to stare in the mirror. We all can do something, little by little. This is why many of us are seeing things in the bigger picture. And I'm out there in the streets too, protesting, activism now and then. Haven't done it as much, but I do my best to help my community. So everyone can do a little time. Doesn't take a whole lot. Maybe 20, 30 minutes of your time. Give someone a hand. Chat with folks. Talk about life and freedom and what do they think what's going on in the world, the United States, etc. As far as I'm concerned, all these bogus reality shows, I just go down the toilet, I just take a dump and flush it down the toilet. That's how I see it. There's nothing wrong about entertainment, but don't let that control you. Don't let all these entities like sports, so forth, be your religious cult. That's counterproductive. I'm not saying they're bad things, but keep a balance. Enjoy your families. Teach them about these things. Be the rabbi. All right, be the instructor. Be the inspirator, innovator. And we can make things better. Not just the United States, but the world. That's why when I support the Ron Paul movement, not because of one man, it's the message. I followed him since 2001. Do I agree with him in everything? Expectantly, no. But that's cool. I'm looking at the overall picture. Whether you're the Democrat, Republican, doesn't matter. Support the principles, not the parties. That's what you have to look at. Even the ones in these political parties need to start networking with everybody else, because a lot of you guys don't realize you have a lot in common. So please, common interest is essential. And spreading the love is keen. All right. That's enough said about that. All right. I got a few more here. And this one here actually came out June 30th. That's a little bit late here. But pretty interesting about personalliberty.com. It's entitled Democrats, Charleston shooter proof that white supremacist anti-government groups pose that significant national threat. All right, let's see what they have to say about this. Who wrote this? Oh, Sam Rowley. All right. As it says here, a group of Senate Democrats are pushing for congressional inquiry into whether the white supremacist domestic terror is on the rise in the wake of the killings of 9 black churchgoers in Charleston, South Carolina on June 17th. Wow, it should be in the bill before that. I mixed those up by accident. Forgive me. Should have had that before with the whole domestic right-wing extremism bill here. That's okay. We'll continue on. The lawmakers, all members of the Senate Judiciary Committee, claim that the alleged shooter, Dylan's Roof, racially charged ramblings ahead of the incident, making it apparent that he was acting as a behest of domestic hate groups. It is the same that has been perpetrated by someone claiming a desire to harm Americans in the service of Islamist principles. It would immediately be labeled an act of terror. The senators, led by ranking Democrat Patrick Leahy of Vermont, said in a written petition for hearings, a violent act motivated by a racist desire to intimidate a civilian population falls squarely with the definition of domestic terrorism. Oh, so when we come to the ATF, the IRS, with all those guns, they are beautiful heroes, right? That will go and break in people's homes, throw grenades, and make babies blind. They are not terrorists. How astute of them. Washington, D.C., with Patrick Leahy. And I will continue on here. It says here, the letter addressed to Judiciary Chairman Charlie Grassley, Republican from Iowa, was signed by Leahy along with with Democratic Senator Richard J. Durbin of Illinois, Dianne Feinstein of California, Chris Coons of Delaware, and Al Franken of Minnesota. Oh my goodness. They love our freedom and Bill of Rights culture. Yeah, I can go to the toilet and find that more fascinating than their rhetoric. We'll proceed. In the past, mass violence in our country has been explained away, an act of insanity to be treated as a mental health issue. What we saw in South Carolina is about hate, and it's about evil, said the Democrat said. The lawmaker requested comes after the Southern Poverty Law Center, an organization which has been long claimed that right-wing domestic terror poses a threat to the U.S. and Islamic Jihad. Similarly, asked Congress to hold hearings on that matter. You're going to let Morris Deeds going to tell you about hate laws and domestic terrorism? They're instigators, as far as I'm concerned. One thing about the Southern Poverty Law Center, and I will say this time and time again, they love racism, hatred, and division. It makes them money. Okay? I will continue on here. There's a growing recognition that resources from the federal government devotes to combating terrorism may be skewed toward jihadism, even as deadly attacks by non-Islam extremists are becoming increasingly common, said SPLC President Richard Cohen. Congress should hold hearings to determine how the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of Justice work in response to this threat. Oh, the right to bear arms don't count, huh? Go more big government. SPLC, more big government. Zeke hail, Zeke hail, Zeke hail. All right, I'll continue on here. SPLC included in its call for congressional action finding from recent reports from a Triangle Center on Terrorism and Homeland Security, which named anti-government groups as a bigger threat to U.S. law enforcement than radicalized Muslims. According to the report, 382 law enforcement agencies that show 74% reported anti-government extremism is now one of the top 3 terrorist threats in their jurisdiction. 39% listed extremism connected with Al-Qaeda or like-minded terrorist organizations. Oh my goodness. Yep, you know what that means. If you're a freedom lover, sovereign thinker, supports Ron Paul, supports the Constitution, supports the Bill of Rights, believe in God. By any means, you could be a terrorist, a domestic terrorist, if you criticize people like Dianne Feinstein, Chris Coons, Al Franken, Barack Obama, and John Boehner, not Boehner, but Boehner and Marco Rubio. You could be a terrorist. Oh my goodness. Thomas Paine wrote Common Sense. He was a terrorist. Thomas Jefferson criticized government. He was a terrorist. Ron Paul spoke about bigger government. He criticized it. He was a terrorist. People like Lou Dobbs criticized the North American Union, signed by former president of the United States, George W. Bush, former president of Mexico, Vicente Fox, former prime minister of Canada, Paul Martin, they criticize them for it. Lou Dobbs could be a domestic terrorist. Oh my goodness. We should all hold hands and sing Sex Crime 1984 by the Eurythmics. Think about it, my friends. More Orwellian rhetoric at its finest. And this is why I was totally against the Southern Poverty Law Center for a good 25 years. Why? I seen their garbage, their propaganda. They are just a bunch of frauds, as far as I'm concerned. I say that in good faith. Because I remember even some of the time they consider people like Larry Pratt, Glenn Beck, which I'm not even a fan of, Alex Jones, Ron Paul as potential terrorists. So you're gonna believe their hype now? Come on. The only way to fight true terrorism is to preserve our Bill of Rights culture. And here's the thing: the state, the church in South Carolina, that happened with that shooting by Mr. Roof allegedly was a firearm-free zone. You can hear my past episode. I have all the documentation to back that up. Or not go to handgunlaws.us and look up South Carolina, and they can tell you where guns are prohibited. And there's a link for that as well. So you can go my past episode, or you can go to that website. Don't be shy. Handgunlaws.us. Okay? I'm just here giving you the facts, my friends. So definitely, you gotta pay attention. And Dianne Feinstein, she hates freedom. Al Franken is a compromiser too. You got people that support that's behind this judiciary. A lot of them are compromisers to our Bill of Rights culture. They want the government. They want you to depend on the government for everything. And government in Latin, once again, means control of the mind. And enough said about that. And I will continue on here. Almost done. Don't be shy. Yeah, absolutely. This is from SeattleOrganics.com. SeattleOrganicsRestaurant.com. This one here is entitled, Monsanto has been creating genetic modified politicians called Franken-fools. Their logic-resistant and wild Pacific salmon are endangered by sea lice and frankenfish. Since the essence of life and without seed sovereignty, there is no food sovereignty. According to a report by the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, 75% of the plant genetic diversity has been lost since local farmers and organic food producers were forced to leave their local farms for more industrialized and modernized variety. All hail to neo-mercantilism. Woo! Grow technocracy. I will continue. In fact, currently 75% of the world's food supply is generated in forms of only 12 plants and 5 animal species. Most of the foods in the U.S. are just rearrangement of corn and soy, and 90% of the U.S. corn and soy are genetically modified and patented by the giant biotech company Monsanto, which brought you Agent Orange. The disappearance of seed sovereignty and lack of biodiversity have led to a major crisis in agriculture and global food security at the same time. Franken-food companies have the power to force legislators to pass laws in their favors and use public money to destroy renewable heirloom seeds and replace them with non-renewable and unreliable patent seeds owned by big corporations. Yes! So those politicians will pull their pants for Monsanto. So it proves one thing. Being a bend-over Bob has its benefits. For now. So, why Uncle Sam supports Franken-food companies? Monsanto seeds have brought debt, lack of biodiversity, suicidal farmers. Every 30 minutes, an Indian farmer commits suicide by drinking Monsanto insecticide. There's a website for that. Because GMO, many countries have banned import of U.S. corn and wheat. Also, despite that, with a majority of Americans who want GMO labeled, the power mad government dominated by demagogues and sociopaths have pushed and continue to push for Monsanto's GMO agenda. Monsanto's toxic legacy is full representation of biocriminals who offer destruction and misery to the world in the name of science and technology. According to alternate.org, the State Department is using taxpayer money to help push the agenda of Monsanto and its friends all across the world. Yeah, could we say financial imperialism, right? Here's a recent example. Assistant Secretary of State Jose W. Fernandez addressing an event of high-level government officials from around the world. Agribusiness CEOs, leaders from international organizations, and anti-hunger groups said, without agricultural biotechnology, our world would look vastly different. One of our challenges is how to grow more crops from the same land. This is where biotechnology plays a role. While many well-known, respected scientific communities members disagree with the above statements and have raised questions and concerns about genetically modified foods, the U.S. lawmakers keep pushing for Franken seeds and vote no on a single bill that will require GMO to be labeled. Find out how House of Representatives is a true representative of Monsanto, DuPont, and their buddies. There's a link for that. While Obama administration draws a red line against the use of chemical weapons, the gradual poisoning of the American public is considered normal and well accepted. The tyrannical way, thou shalt use knee pads, the tyrannical way. I can't say the American way, but the tyrannical way. Remember that, folks. Our local farmers and organic food producers are threatened and pushed out of business by giant agribusiness, with 6 breeds of livestock are lost every month, and 30% of livestock breeds and are high risk of extinction. As a matter of fact, many animal species have gone extinct over the last century, and the world's main 17 fishing grounds are fishing above the sustainable limits, and many fish populations are going extinct. One of the fish is going to extinct is Pacific salmon. Pacific salmon is going extinct as a result of sea lice that breed in farm fish. Pacific salmon that has existed since the Ice Age is born in a river and migrate about 2,000 miles in the sea and then return all the way back to the river where it was born, bringing tremendous amount of nutrients on its journey to help sustain the entire ecosystem, such as bears, wolves, eagles, and even rainforests. The failure to contain sea lice and farm salmon is endangered the wild salmon population and the entire ecosystem. In 2007, a group of scientists wrote a letter to the Canadian government urging them to take a serious action against sea lice. 18 respected scientists, researchers have submitted to the following letter to the Canadian government. There's a link for that on Science Daily. Ready for GMO salmon? Just when you think that farm fish was so bad that the biotech comes up with a new GMO fish called Aqua Advantage Salmon, a combination of frame salmon eggs and growth hormones from a Chinook salmon. Frankenfish, funded by the USDA, can grow much quicker and become twice the size of Atlantic salmon in a short period of time. Despite claims of many independent researchers and scientists, the Food and Drug Administration in their preliminary assessment has agreed that Frankenfish is safe and won't pose a threat to it, to people's health and the environment. That's a good comedy one-liner, right? Good grief. However, many scientists have raised concerns that GMO salmon can breed with wild trout and harm the ecosystem. Click here to find out how scientists warn that GMO salmon can breed with wild trout and harm the environment and other species. Frankenfish is currently waiting for FDA's approval, and with U.S. pro-GMO policies, Frankenfish might soon appear on your dinner plate. But if the FDA approves GM salmon for consumption, the nutritional value of wild salmon and the lives of many wild species could be ruined. Hope that wild salmon won't be among 100 species that go extinct every single day. Don't let corporations buy your vote. Vote yes on 522. Label it. Let's label it and call it proudly made with GMO. The giant biotech chemical corporations, including Monsanto and DuPont, are spending millions of dollars to kill GMO initiative labeling in Washington. These toxic producing companies don't care about the health and well-being of you or your family. Last year, the biotech and chemical companies spent $46 million to defeat California Proposition number 37, and so far they spent $11 million against I-522 in Washington. Find out how Grocery Manufacturers Association has been launching donation money on behalf of giant retail and food corporations. Do not want to suffer the bad publicity for opposing Washington GMO initiative labeling. So give them hell, Washington. The fact is that the biotech and chemical companies know that the highest of the GMO products are actually related to lack of knowledge and proper labeling, not to customer choice. Many consumers have no idea they are purchasing many of the food brands that contain hidden GMO ingredients. Also, the food industry that no one knows their right mind goes to a grocery store and specifically looks for genetically modified tomatoes or corn, and not a single brand of food companies advertise this product is made with GMO. They actually try to deny and hide GMO in their products. If there's nothing wrong with GMOs, why not label it and advertise it? Call it proudly made with GMOs. Yeah, right on that. What is all this hiding about? They have to sell their GMOs under the names like natural. Please support GMO initiative labeling in Washington and our right as consumers to know. Do not fall for the trick and manipulative tactics of chemical companies that falsely claim that GMO labeling will increase the food prices. Vote yes on 522 if you don't want the government or big corporation to prevent you from finding out what's in your food. There is a labeling link for that too, and plus there's Al Jazeera's opinion and Silence Daily as well. Yes, the state of Washington, please support 522. Show these bastards who's the boss. And this is why I always tell a lot of my friends and people like out there too, we all got to start learning and teach one another, share information. That's what we got a great thing about the internet. And we have these March Against Monsanto rallies, which happened on Memorial Day weekend. I went down to Miami. It was fantastic. You can hear my past episode. I had a great time. A lot of great like-minded people from all different walks of life. People need to get involved. Be proactive. Don't complain. Do. Do. You don't have to be a rich man, rich person, have lots of money to fight for the cause. I hear too much. Sometimes I hear too much excuses from friends of mine. I just laugh at them. Don't have me go out there feel sorry. Don't feel sorry for yourself, because you're part of the problem, not the solution. So please, everyone there, take the initiative. I'm supporting I-522, and the people in my science that don't like it, and those other scumbag companies that supports corporate farming, laugh at them. They need us more. We need them. That's what you got to think. You have to have that mindset, my friends. And it is happening, which is fantastic. Little by little, okay? All right, finally, this actually came out the 30th. Yeah, June 30th is updated. And I forgot all about this, too. My good grief. I went to the JPFL's website, and this came up. And actually, it came from freebeacon.com. And it was up, originally came out June 29th at 2015, 5 a.m. And it got updated June 30th at 4:15 p.m. And this one's interesting. It's called Federal Judge Orders Plaintiffs to Pay Ammo Dealers Legal Fees After Dismissing Lawsuit. Lucky Gunners says it will donate money to gun rights groups. And it says here, an earlier version of this report incorrectly stated that Judge Matash ordered the Brady Center to Prevent Gun Violence to pay defendants legal fees in this case. And in fact, Judge Matash ordered the plaintiffs in the suit, Sandy and Lorraine Phillips, to pay the fees. Although the Brady Center has publicly described the lawsuit as their own, Lucky Gunner has vowed to recover their fees from the Brady Center, and Judge Matash addressed the Brady Center involvement in his opinion. The Brady Center is not named as the plaintiffs in the order. We regret the error. The Brady Center has not responded to an inquiry about whether they would pay the fees on the Phillips' behalf. And as it reads here, a federal judge has ordered that the plaintiffs in a lawsuit targeting an online ammunition dealer over the Aurora Theater shooting to pay legal fees of the companies they sued. The order, which was issued last week, comes after Judge Richard P. Matash dismissed the gun control group's suit, sought to hold Lucky Gunner legally responsible for the 2012 shooting. The Brady Center to Prevent Gun Violence, which supported the plaintiffs, Sandy Lorraine Phillips, whose daughter was killed in the Aurora shooting, had argued that the way was the Lucky Gunner sells ammunition and reasonably dangerous to create a public nuisance. A curious homicidal killer should not be able to amass a military arsenal while showing his face or answering a single question with a simple click of a mouse. Brady Center's Legal Action Project Director Jonathan Laurie said at the time, if businesses choose to sell military-grade equipment online, they must screen purchases to prevent arming people like James Holmes. We'll continue on here. Judge Matash disagreed with the Brady Center's argument. He said the suit was filed for propaganda purposes. Ooh! It is apparent that this case was filed to pursue the political purposes of the Brady Center, and given the failure to present any cognizable legal claim, other words, unmeritable. Bringing these defendants into the Colorado court where the prosecution of James Holmes was proceeding appears to be more of an opportunity to propagandize the public and stigmatize the defendants that to obtain a court order, he said in his order. Lucky Gunner praised the court's decision and vowed to do everything in his power to recover the money awarded by the ruling. The federal judge of the case ruled it was apparent that the suit was filed to pursue the Brady Center's political purpose and was used as an opportunity to propagandize the public. Lucky Gunner spokesman Anthony Welsh said Lucky Gunner agrees with the court's assessment and continues to do it can to hold the Brady Center accountable for legal fees awarded in the case. The company said it will donate that money to a number of gun rights groups and set up a website to allow customers to vote on how to distribute the funds. Any legal fees to Lucky Gunner recover would be Second Amendment supporting organizations as voted by the shooting community, Welsh said. The case is still now pending. The Brady Center did not respond to requests for comment. First of all, I do have to give my condolences to the Phillips family on their loss of their daughter, Sandy Lonnie Phillips. It is a terrible, disturbing incident, and it still angers me to this day. Here's the thing with the Brady Center. How come they never take the courage or the initiative to go after the big pharmaceutical companies? There's a big claim that James Holmes said he was a mind control victim. And two, the Aurora Theater was a firearm-free zone. How come they don't go after them on it? This is why I have contempt for the Brady Center to prevent gun violence. Guns actually have the mind of their own, like robots, and they shoot and they shoot on their own free will. Give me a break. They get what they deserve, and it's going to blow back in their faces. That's why I call the Brady Center to prevent gun violence a bunch of treasonous parasites. That's all they are. Not me being a gun nut or anything like that. I had nothing to do with that. It's being a freedom lover, sovereign thinker, and includes personal responsibility. But they want to go the lazy ass way of serving justice. This is why I have contempt for people like Jonathan Lowy and all the little lackeys. They're unacceptable, null and void. They're another bunch of treasonous charlatans. I said that. Not an opinion, but it's based on your actions. And you can sue me for all I want. I don't care. Because as far as I'm concerned, you have no merit. This is how I always tell people about these organizations like them. You gotta observe responsibly. Don't follow the hype. Observe logic. Look at everything thoroughly. I get mad as hell when we all have our emotions. Don't get me wrong. We all do. We all have our rough edges. Even myself. I admit that. We're human beings, for goodness sakes. But what happened here? Lucky Gunner should never be held accountable. And shame on the Brady Center. Like I said, you're just a bunch of parasites, as far as I'm concerned. Treasonous parasites and charlatans. If you get mad about that and your supporters don't like it, too bad. Deep down inside, you know I'm right. But I'm happy this case was done. Went to the right direction. And I do thank the judge, Madish, for making that decision. And that is all, my friends. I'd like to thank you for taking the time to listen. Plus, please feel free on downloading and sharing this episode and everything else on my website throughout your social media network. If you have any information, comments, criticisms, love letters, hate letters, etc., or have a recommendation, please always use decorum. You can hit me on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Spreaker, and send your comments to iHeartRadio. Or you can email me at lookyluck3@gmail.com. And furthermore, you go on my Spreaker page, and you got the links to how to contact me, okay? Once again, I thank you for your time. Plus, always remember that demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Keep on spreading love, and may your guardian spirits be with you.